drones exhibiting some of the same behaviors with that bad ribbon cable again. I was like, oh no, this again. That's always a common thing with this Mavic drone, huh? I was thinking too, for things like new drones, maybe the reason why DJI is clearing out all those old drones and there's not as much stock. Do you guys remember the news about how after 2020 or so, every drone they have is gonna have things like that AirSense stuff? So I made me wonder if that's the reason. And talking about drones and stuff, how about this title here? It says, criminalize British drone flyers, snarl MPs amid crackdown demands, geo-blocking, weaponization, and more in parliamentary committee sites. I guess they're making it really serious there. It says the British government should make it a crime to disable geofencing and electronic conspicuity on one's drone, according to MPs from a parliamentary committee looking at future drone regulation. In a report issued today, Parliament's Science and Technology Committee demanded the government issue a white paper, not a white paper, but the capitalized version, which is a format policy proposal, setting out a raft of new crimes intended to stop people from flying small drones. Within that white paper, it said the STC ought to have plans for criminalization, the quote, weaponization of drones, as well as making it a criminal offense not to register one's craft with the government. Other new criminal offenses to be aimed at drone users, according to the MPs, should include the capturing of, quote, an individual's data without their consent. Wow, that's kind of crazy, isn't it? Despite well-founded criticism of the Civil Aviation Authority over its plans to build a money-making database for registering drone users, the MPs also thought it would be clever to call for, quote, compulsory renewal of drone operator licenses to ensure that they are up to date with technology advances and legislative changes. It also calls for all drones, including new and existing ones, to be electronically conspicuous within 2 years. Given how small many drones are and how their useful payloads are, this is likely to cause more economic harm to the current drone sector, particularly craft incapable of carrying current aviation spec conspicuity tech such as ADS-B, out-transmitters, or FLARM. So I think that ADS-B thing is what that AirSense thing would be all about as well, right? Or it's related? Is this true as well? It says, at the start of the year, government ministers promised a crackdown on families playing with toy drones in their gardens if they happen to live near an airport by criminalizing the flying of any drone within 3 miles of licensed aerodromes. Did they actually say that? Or is this article just more in the mindset of they really hate like the proposal regulations? So obviously it's brought up more that way to exaggerate it, but that is kind of crazy if you think about it. Permission to get information and all that, criminalizing toys. How far is too far? Because it just reminds me of a lot of people say, yeah, it makes so much sense, like the registration and all that makes so much sense, the training and all that. Yet in this case, technically, if you think about it, someone can't even build one as a hobby. Because I know a lot of people do things like, for example, FPV racing, like little small drones they race for fun. Technically, that would be illegal too, and you'd have to require them to put all this stuff. And when I thought of whether or not, did they actually say that, or is the article basically just being more extreme? Here's a funny thought, it says drone notes. The report also insists on citing an economic benefit figure of $42 billion, which was plucked out of thin air by forecasts from Pricewaterhouse analysts. And then here's an asterisk remark here. It says, technically drone flyers licenses are called permissions for commercial drone work, or PFCOs. But as it looks like a license and quacks like a license, ... that is just so crazy if people are gonna take it to that extreme where they're basically implying even a toy drone needs to be regulated and monitored in that way. Again, it just makes me think of all those people like here in Canada that say, oh yeah, everything's fantastic. I mean, you have to think of the long term where people like this, if they're gonna go overboard. It makes me wonder, in cases like this, do people who are already discouraged, do they just give us as, it's impossible, it's all gonna be regulated anyways, time to give up the hobby? Do people actively try to change it? Or do people just, I guess, accept it the way it is and profit from it commercially, so to speak, if that's what they're doing in a lot of cases?
When you see wings up there, we're gonna turn right. So it's still it's a few minutes.
Alright, see you guys later.